the position you talked about, the way you used the Metale example, but you also asked a question about what's the posturing of the other security agencies operating in that area as well, right?
So far, what I've seen is it's a military thing.
It's a military thing. But we've also seen where the civilian JTF assisted in this assignment, so to speak, and they're amongst those that were recommended in that particular report. Is there more that can be done to help? Because I mean, we hear of other hunters across the country volunteering to go out there and fight Boko Haram, asking that they be they be paid. Do you think there's more that can be done in terms of bringing in more hands?
More hands, it's like asking for the obvious. See, terrorism, fighting terrorism, there are two modes. It's either counter or it's anti. We start with counter. We did the counter aspect. We took back our lands, brought down all those strange flags and what have you. By now, so many years past to this date, we should be in the anti mode. But we are recycling counter-terrorism. And the reason is because terrorism, fighting terrorism, is one big party. Everyone has a role to play. Everyone. And that's why, as far as 4 years ago, in these same studios, I was talking about the blueprint. What are the ground rules for being a customs officer in that area? What should be your mission statement? Everything about the Northeast should switch into terrorist mode. Even the traditional rulers, even the religious rulers. People just sit down, oh, the soldiers are here. Why? Of course the soldiers are here, but if I was an insurgent, I'm not going to take you on your strongest link. I will go for that weakest link in your chain. The soldiers are here, fine. What's the blueprint? I mean, a lot needs to be done. Now, talking about hands, there are as many people who are willing, including myself, to put our little 20 kobo in there. But let me tell you another problem we have with this nation. People have this complex, particularly our institutions. Our institutions tend to believe if I don't know it, it doesn't exist. But you see, there is not only a military option to fighting terrorism. Military option is even at the bottom of the value chain. Let me give you an example. The farmers, sorry, not the farmers, the hunters. I watched one clip where an honorable member of the National Assembly volunteered that he was ready, being a hunter himself, to lead. Let me tell you, there is a utility value to those hunters. Most people look at them as hunters. I hunt too. I hunt too. Anywhere you hear in the north, they say Maidawa. You are talking about the head hunter, the leader of the hunters, right? I won't say head hunter. Head hunter means something else for HR people. So these people have native ability when it comes to the ground. They see things the soldier won't see. They know things the soldier can't know. In those days when we go hunting with very elderly hunters, they look at the ground and tell you are wasting your time. And it take you some years before you understand what they say. Yes, they are good trackers. We just have this mentality that if it's not foreign, it's substandard. But I tell you that when it comes to ground and native ability, if you put anyone without that native ability of the ground in there, those insurgents will rout it or him.
What about the 2,000 military police that were sent to the Northeast?
Military
including,
police or
yes,
policemen?
and the bomb squad and sniffer dogs, mobile policemen.
That's part of the ceremony I'm talking about. That's part of the ceremony. You see, what's the fabric, if I could say? What's the fabric? What's the makeup of those men? You're looking at an insurgent who was born in those mountains, who knows those grounds, whose body, I'm going into the quantum aspect of it now.
Is it suicide to have sent those 2,000?
I don't know what it's meant to achieve, but it's not about numbers. It's about this. That's why I used to always mention metacognition, imagination, and innovation ability. These three things are key. And I tell you, those ragtags we call insurgents, they have it. Don't forget, they've never been to depot, they've never been to NDA, they've never been to staff college, they've never been to defense college, and we've been running after them now for 9 years. And we have people who have done all this. We have people who have gone abroad and bested their own classes abroad and are back here, and they are replete with decorations and medals. So what's the problem? What do you think the problem is? The problem is a glaring lack of innovation, imagination, and metacognition. You cannot begin to think because you've bought all the equipments on earth, you're going to fight these people. They're like rats. They're like rats. And if you don't have people that will think like rats for you, with your weapons and everything, you're going to be like a man who is using fishing nets to catch flies. They're going to walk right through your fishing nets. So a lot has to be done. And when I say a lot has to be done, you have to enter the quantum dynamics. When I say quantum dynamics, now I'm talking of subatomic. What is it about this suit you're wearing that makes it so nice? It's not the fabric, because something makes up the threads that add up to the fabrics.
Captain Aliyu, Umar, it's always a delight to having to listen and hear you talk about how security can be better enhanced, especially in the Northeast. But we must thank you for talking to us. And maybe we'll be keeping in touch with you still, because this seems to be ongoing at the moment. But we're going to take a short break at this moment. Sunrise Daily will be back in just a moment. Join us again.